of May. We'll talk about that and more with Alex Rodriguez in 45 minutes here on ESPN. Meanwhile, news from football as well. Let's talk about the Chargers, who will have a different look next season after 5 years with the team. Melvin Gordon signed a 2-year deal with the Broncos. He's the only player with 8 rushing touchdowns in each of the last 4 seasons. That's one change. Here's the big one. Phillip Rivers, the longtime face of the franchise, signed a 1-year, $25 million deal with the Colts. He spent 16 years with the Chargers, leaves as the franchise leader in most passing categories. And right now, Tyrod Taylor is the frontrunner to take over at quarterback. He signed a 2-year contract with the team last year. He's 23-21-1 in his career. With Rivers gone, Taylor and Easton Stick are currently the only quarterbacks on the roster. Of the two, Taylor is the only one to have any experience. Stick was a 5th-round pick out of North Dakota State last year. He did beat out Cardale Jones for the 3rd and final quarterback spot a year ago. And we really wanted to have a general manager on this morning to talk about his team and, of course, the draft rules here. And here is Chargers general manager Tom Telesco, good enough to get up very early for us on the West Coast. And, Tom, I really appreciate it. We'll get to your team in a second, but we're talking about the draft being run virtually. The NFL announcing that yesterday, and it's definitive. So you'll be running this draft from home. So to you, as a general manager, how will that make things different for you?
Well, first of all, it's not a virtual draft to us. I mean, it's real. But, yeah, it's going to be unique. It's going to be a challenge. But the more we put into this, the more we plan for it. I think we have a good plan for this. It's gotten a little bit exciting as far as how this is going to plan out. I've been doing this for a long time. Been in a lot of draft rooms before, never anything like this before. But we have a good plan to keep everybody connected, at least internally, probably through a lot of video conferencing. So if anyone's been in a draft room or seen a draft room, I mean, you have ownership in there. You have your front office, you have your head coach, Anthony Lynn. Our assistant coaches aren't in the draft room, but they're a big part of the draft. And then our college scouts, our pro scouts, our doctors. So it's a lot of people internally to keep in contact with. We'll have a plan for that. How we connect with the other teams and talk with them. That's going to be a little bit of a challenge that we'll work through. Honestly, right now, it's probably going to be a little bit of a family affair for us. I may have my kids on the phone taking phone calls. I'm probably in negotiations with my wife on what her role is going to be on draft weekend. But it's all hands on deck right now.
It's fascinating. We just had Adam Schefter on. We were talking about the ways in which it might be evident to the fan that this was different. Because at the end of the day, I think most fans care about what players wind up where and less about the mechanics of how you're going about doing it. In what ways do you think it might actually influence the way the draft plays out?
It's an unknown, Grady. I just don't know. I mean, this is something we've never had to do before. We haven't had a lot of lead-up time to prepare for this. We've been looking at this for a couple of weeks. We knew this was a possibility, so we were in planning mode. But I just don't know. I really don't know. It's completely new for all of us. But I think we put a pretty good plan together. We feel good about it. We'll probably test it next week, go through some different scenarios. But our planning process with how we've been meeting with the scouts and the coaches have pretty much been unaffected other than the fact that we can't meet face to face. But no, it's a little bit of an unknown right now.
Quickly, Adam Schefter mentioned that the possibility that we'll see fewer trades. You just mentioned that your communications with other teams is one of the pieces of this you can't really work on as much ahead of time. Do you believe we might see fewer deals made as a result of that?
I mean, I guess it's a possibility, but it's just hard to know right now as far as how that's going to play out. In the end, I think everybody has their job to do, and I think it's probably going to function the way you normally see it on draft weekend. I mean, for us, it's going to be a lot different, but we'll still be able to contact other GMs, other front offices. We'll have phone numbers for everybody. Like I said, I may have my son Nicholas on one of the phones, my son Thomas on one of the other phones, but it will all get done in the end.
Let's see which one of them winds up making the big trade that you guys are looking to make. Let's talk about the quarterback situation. We just ran through it. There's been a lot of attention paid to that. How do you feel about your quarterback situation right now? What are you looking to do?
Well, look, we have confidence in Tyrod Taylor, and just as important, our teammates and his teammates have confidence in Tyrod. So that's where we are right now, and we're very happy with that. And other than that, I mean, we're in really pretty much all draft focus right now. I mean, free agency goes on forever. Obviously, free agency never ends, but the main part of free agency is kind of past, and now we're strictly in draft mode. But no, we're excited about Tyrod. We think he can do a lot of things for us. Anthony Lynn has a lot of confidence in him, and we'll be ready to go.
Understood. There is one free agent, though, that people continuously link with your team, and Tyrod Taylor himself posted a photo recently of himself working out with Cam Newton. They've known each other a long time. What conversations have you had about Cam?
Well, like Cam and like almost every player that comes available, we always talk about things internally. But like I said before, we're very confident in Tyrod Taylor to run our offense the way we want it to run. And, we'll always monitor what's available out in free agency and on the street. But, right now it's really 100% draft focus. And obviously with the logistics going on with this draft this year from home, it's taking us a little extra time and work.
Fair enough. All right, Tom, listen, I appreciate the time very much. Thank you. Good luck to you and your kids as you maneuver through this draft, and we'll check in with you again. We appreciate it. Right now, Ryan Clark with his tweets. It's time for Ryan Clark to explain his tweets.
Get in the gym, bro. Well, I just got buffalo chicken dip. Baker.
Bruh. Lord. As everyone laughs at the way I read your tweets. I can't even do it with a straight face. All right, we love to do these. Ryan Clark is the best Twitter follow, and we will go through some of these. The first one's actually easy for me to read, RC. That was an easy call. Been money since your rookie year. Who'd you tweet that at and why?
Richard Sherman. Listen, I met Richard Sherman on the lawn at the Pro Bowl his rookie season, and Brandon Browner, Earl Thomas, and Cam Chancellor were all in the Pro Bowl, and he was telling me that the youngest member of LOB would be back the next year. And when you meet Rich, he's slightly abrasive. He's kind of in your face. So at first I was kind of taken back, but then I started to watch dude, and he balled, and it was 8 picks, and it was 8 picks, and it was Super Bowls, and it was Pro Bowls, and it was all pros. And then he gets injured, and he goes to San Francisco and becomes a very vital part as an all-pro and a Pro Bowler, or the #1 defense in the NFL. And when you can do that over the span of time that Richard Sherman has done it, you deserve to be on the all-decade team. And for a dude who's not scared to tell you how good he is, now the world gets to tell him. And I thought it was super dope, and I felt like he needed to be acknowledged.
All right, the next tweet here is a little more complicated. 1/4, 1/4. I was the backside half safety. I locked Ike Taylor on the tight end backside of 3x1 because film showed that Greg Jennings was the first read at number 3 versus split safeties. It was supposed to be my MVP moment, but Aaron Rodgers had other plans. RC, explain that tweet.
Greeny, me and you have talked about this. First off, it's quarter halves, not 1/4, 1/4,
okay.
1/2. And I was the backside safety. And I already told you, Greeny, for 2 weeks, I schemed up this interception. I schemed it up. And I saw Greg Jennings at number 3. Ike had a tight end. I say, this is the moment. I had practiced in the mirror for 2 weeks. I'm going to Disney World. And then I bring it low. I'm going to Disney World. Then I keep it real cool. Y'all know I'm going to Disney World. So I was already ready. As I'm running over, I'm thinking about how I'm going to say it. I see Aaron Rodgers. He's getting ready to throw it. I go to pick it. I missed it. I couldn't jump over a wet hamburger. And then Aaron Rodgers is walking off the field the next drive, and he's like, hey, 2-5. What I've learned is, though, I played on very good teams because I've been shown on TV a lot lately, and that is the good part. Now, all the people that tweet me that I couldn't play, just watch the freaking games. We was always in the Super Bowl.
You were that close. I'm sorry I read it wrong. Here's a great one, and here's the tweet. Poor people love pizza. White people love pizza. Black people love pizza. Do black people love pizza? Michael Scott, the GOAT, #The Office. You're watching it. Explain the tweet.
Hey, so everybody's been trying to get me to watch The Office. I finally started watching, and Michael Scott, who is super awkward, is also extremely funny. And yes, black people do love pizza. And on the show, they cut right to black people loving pizza. And Dan Orlowski, you're talking about me always talking about food. Last week, I bought on the cereal, but people want to know what type of snacks you're eating, RC. We got donut sticks. We got honey buns. We got oatmeal pies. We got brownie brittle if you want to be a little healthy. Even some Pop-Tart joints. And I always finish with the brownies. But my son, because he was bored, I heard you talking about certain kids getting bored at home. My son got bored. He got the ingredients for ooey gooey cake, and he made Pops one. It's a ooey gooey butter cake. He only made it 2 days ago. I'm supposed to be eating one snack a